I know what you're thinking. How can a critical-based weapon become overpowered, and able to kill enemies in just one shot? We all know that status is king at endgame levels, and a puncture-based weapon, with just lots of critical damage, won't do any good against high-level enemies. That's where you're wrong. The Pennant can become overpowered, if you have the right build, setup and synergy for this weapon. And, I'm here to tell you about how you can make the Pennant extremely powerful. But first, let me give you some information on how to get this two-handed Nikana. Pennant's main blueprint can be obtained from defeating Grineer commanders in galleons or asteroids during Empyrean missions. The blueprint must be personally picked up by the player to obtain it. If the commander is killed and all players aboard disembark the spacecraft, the galleon, asteroid can no longer be boarded. At least one player should remain inside to ensure the entire squad can pick up the blueprint. At first look, you can say that this weapon is just critical porn. We want it, but we don't need it at high-level plays. The low status chance ruin it all for this weapon. But settle down, lads. Like I've said earlier, we can make this weapon viable for endgame levels. First of all, although this weapon has low slash damage, which we need for endgame missions like endurance runs, we can still proc slash, and then bleed with Pennant, since its Wise Razor stance has two combos that force proc slash damage. The first one is Cutting Thrice, that somehow proc slash damage by chance, and the second one is Lover's Farewell, which grants 100% force slash proc. So, long story short, we don't need any status chance or slash mods on this weapon to make it worthwhile at endgame levels. Instead, we can focus on giving it as much damage and critical chance. There are two builds that I will show you for this weapon, and it varies on your playstyle, and as well as the frames you are using. So, let's dive into the build section of this guide. The first one is a heavy attack build. This is basically to take advantage of Pennant's heavy attack, which deals heavy slash proc on hit. The idea is to have as much critical chance and damage on your heavy attack. Corrupted Charge will give us 2 times combo multiplier, which somehow boost our critical damage to orange crit numbers, while Primed Reach is a must, since we need as much range to hit multiple enemies at once with just one swing. Berserker is a personal preference, and I usually use this when I'm using normal frames with no attack speed bonus. However, for frames like Gauss, Pennant can be modded without attack speed. Any mod can be equipped on this slot. In fact, you can say that mods like Life Strike is the best in slot for this build, since we will be spamming heavy attacks, and most probably utilizing the lifesteal of this mod. If you got the time and resources, I suggest that you try a heavy attack build with Gauss. We don't choose Gauss for Pennant because it boosts its attack speed, but the heavy attack setup is perfect for this frame. It's like a run and swing gameplay. A Life Strike heavy attack Pennant is also great for Valkyrie, especially if you don't usually use build this frame for Hysteria. The attack speed boost of Valkyrie's Warcry ability will allow you to get that lifesteal while doing some heavy attacks on the enemies. However, I know some of you don't like spamming heavy attacks, and some of you are damage junkies, who always wants to see huge numbers on their screens. So, here's my second proposed build. The idea of this build is to build up your combo counter to 12 times, before destroying enemies with your heavy attack swing. For us to do that, we must have True Punishment, which will allow us to get to that 12 times combo multiplier sweet spot fast and easy. To negate the combo duration minus of this mod, we simply add body count on the build. Reflex Coil, along with Zenuric Cinemite, will allow us to just consume one combo counter per heavy hit. This means that we don't need to dome some multiple hits before we can reach 12 times combo multiplier, and use our heavy attack again. For me, I prefer this mod setup compared to the one swing spam build for 2 reasons. One is that, Pennant can be used by all frames with this build, since we don't need any attack speed buff from frames anymore. Also, the damage of this setup is far superior compared to the one swing spam setup. It can deal as much as 100k plus bleed damage to the enemies, and that's always a guaranteed kill no matter how high the armor or level of the enemies. I hope that this video have given you enough information about how to make Pennant powerful. You have 2 builds to try, and a couple of frame synergies to use. Now go wreak havoc with Pennant. Also, I have a couple of synergy videos with Gauss and Valkyrie coming up, so be sure to watch it. Lastly, don't forget to hit that like button, and subscribe if you are new here. Thank you so much for watching. Squad Leader signing off.
redemption. Honesty is a one-way gate.